Hey gang, alright. Well, I will tell you right now, I dropped the ball on getting ready for Live with the Shaman, so y'all kind of hang with me just a moment here. Alright, and move me over. There we go. Right, okay. Ah, hell. Hang in there. Unmuting. Right. Okay, Discord is unmuted. We have Cindy, Dave, and Lucy. Looks like over in Discord. Of course, anybody else is welcome to join over on discordapps.com. Live with the Shaman. Hope like hell everybody can hear me. If you can't, let me know. Hello?
Yep, I'm here.
Ah, there we are. Yeah, body decided it needed to go potty. And
yep.
Yeah, so we know how that goes. Right. I do have to put the disclaimer up each and every video broadcast, so here we go. Live with the Shaman is an adult channel. You might hear rough language. You might hear us discuss topics that may not always be family friendly. So, Live with the Shaman goes in and is adjusted as NSFW, not safe for work topics. So there you go. What the hell are we doing today? Today, our topic is following the guides. Right. Well, in short, follow the guides unless they tell you to murder, maim, or commit mayhem. If you're shaman, you've had guides. You've always had guides of one kind or another. You'll always have guides. Some shamans have humanistic appearing guides. Some shamans have totem animals that they walk with that they consider their guides. There's a bit of a difference between a totem animal and a spirit guide. Some variations of shamanism do consider their totems to be their spirit guides. So therein lies the different variants of the different traditions of shamanism. Me personally, my spirit guides are known as Gray Eagle and White Angel. Why, I don't know. That's just the way they've always presented themselves to me. So, topic today is following the guides. There you go. Follow the guides unless they tell you to do something wrong, unhealthy, dangerous. Well, I've done dangerous stuff. Or stupid shit like murder or mayhem. There you go. Topic over. No.
Oh, come on now.
I do want to remind everyone that watches our broadcast like I did on Open Pagan Church earlier. Over on my opening monitor, you will see down here in the bottom right hand corner of your screen the time that we are at here in Central Standard Time. So when you pop in and you see 10:58, 10:55, 10:56, whatever, you will know we start at 11 a.m. by the clock here on the screen. I am absolutely astounded at how many people say, what time do y'all start? And it's posted all over the page. We start at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time.
What time do we start? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that.
No. Simplistically put, we are an hour ahead of the East Coast and we are 2 hours. We're an hour behind the East Coast, and we're 2 hours ahead of the West Coast.
Correct.
Yeah. We're an hour behind the East Coast, and we're 2 hours ahead of the West Coast. That's the way I remember it.
So I got a question.
Uh-oh.
You following the guides, right? I have been lately having my guides show me stuff, but I'm having to, I guess, double check it is a good word to put it. Verification.
Are you familiar with the term parable? Parable.
Say that again.
Parable with
Parable?
a P. Yeah. Um, the guides teach through parables. Like I always taught through parables. I never would and never do give a solid yes or no answer. When people would ask me things, I would give a parable. Dave says we are 13 hours behind Perth and 15 hours ahead of Melbourne, and we are 6 hours behind Scotland. Scotland is 6 hours ahead of us. So, yeah. Anyway, parables. The guides teach through parables. They are, a parable is an answer that's not an answer, but it is an answer designed to make you think. Such as typically a parable may be something along the lines, if you ask, how do I find a job? The most fascinating answer I ever got is, you look. No shit, Sherlock. Well, of course, my guides, having the sense of humor that they do, they're like, you said, how do I find a job? You look. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the heads up there. So the biggest thing is following the guides. You have to learn how to ask the question. And how many times have we said that? You're not going to find the answer to your questions until you learn how to ask the questions to get the answers that you're looking for. Now, the guides are very seldom ever going to tell you what you want to hear, unless what you want to hear is the correct answer.
In other words, they're going to tell you, are you really want the answer?
They've never told me that. I've never heard that from the guides. Are you sure you want the answer to that? That is typically when I ask myself, okay, I'm fixing to ask this fucking question. Do I really actually want the answer? Do I already know the answer? Am I just looking for a pat on the head to say, yeah, you're right?
Or mine's tell me lately it's not the right time.
Yes, I've heard a lot of that. It's not time yet. I'm human. I'm impatient. I want it now. And then the one are you sure you want it now? How do you want it? What is it? Well, fuck, I don't know what it is. You're saying it. How many times have I had borderline arguments with my guides going, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yep.
And I have always been told, and found it rather interesting to be told, well, if you shut the fuck up and quit asking what it is we're talking about and listen, then perhaps you might know what it is we're talking about. Dave says if we cannot figure out what they're teaching us, oh well, the lesson keeps going. Yes, yes. And here's one of the things as Shaman, our guides, they love us, yes, okay, they help keep us from doing stupid shit. There are some times they will just sit back and laugh while we do stupid shit that we know we shouldn't be doing anyway. But the guides have a very interesting sense of humor. They're much like the gods and the deity of the shamans. Depending on what bloodline of shamanism you follow, and that will be next week's topic. That's a little nip in the bud there. Friend got to talking. No worries. A little nip in the bud there for next week's topic. What is your shamanic bloodline? What do you follow? Where's it from? But
Oh boy, I'm not gonna miss that one.
right, spirit guides and where they're from. Spirit guides and how they work. Your spirit guides will follow from your bloodline. Now, my shamanic bloodline dates all the way back to the Tuatha De Danann, and part of my bloodline also follows in the Native American shamanistic ideals because of my great grandmother on my grandmother McDonald's side. So mine's a little bit of a mixed mosh kaposh there, if you will. Dave says they let us know things humorous ways once in a great while. Yeah, well.
Oh boy, do they.
Yes, they have an interesting sense of humor. Absolutely. Now, I don't know about other paths and their spirit guides. I've never gotten anyone of the Wiccan persuasion or the Druidic persuasion to talk about their spirit guides, their leaders. I know the Fae, what the hell do they call them? They don't call them spirit guides, they call them something else. Begins with an S and I don't remember. But anyway, we are shaman. We talk about the shaman spirit guide. They're varied. And I've had people that come to the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, or our breed of training, if you will, in oath to the tradition. And these videos are always geared for the generation that's coming into shamanism, that's wanting to know what it's about. Alright, well, here it is. The spirit guides generally are given to you at the time of your birth, at the time of this lifetime's birth. Now, periodically, I've met people who their spirit guides have followed them lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. I don't know if mine have or not. I've asked and I've not been told. Go figure. White Angel says he has been around since the beginning of the beginning. Great. What does that mean? What are you talking about, the beginning of the beginning? There's a whole lot of misconceptions and theories and ideologies and philosophies that could go from the beginning of the beginning. Dave says people who work at liquor stores, they have spirit guides. Yeah. Papa Top again.
Humor.
Yeah, isn't that bad? That requires a Dr. Pepper.
That's like Sabrina, my daughter, didn't understand her spirit guides until she turned 13, and the lady in Beaumont showed her what they were. She always thought they were just spirits following her around.
Well, that's what spirit guides essentially are. Who is posting? Morning, I naked in. Nacked, nicked, necked, naked in.
That
Clint,
was point changing.
Clint, put some clothes on.
Ew.
I'm here now, he says. Sneaked. Well, we know what's on Clint's mind, don't we? Glad we're tagged as an adult channel.
Right. So, Lucy, when did you find your spirit guides?
Um, I don't know. I mean, it was a combination of like during first year senior student, but I'm pretty like I didn't know like Dawn would say my ass from my head when I first started, and I probably felt them before and it still took me a while to understand energy work. Like I went from a very strict don't believe in feelings type things religion to hey, you can trust your gut now and stuff and what you see or hear. So it took me a while. Yeah, it took me a while to find them. So I can't really say for certain when that was, but I know that when my parents passed, I learned that a lot of my guides are ancestry.
That is actually a norm, believe it or not, most especially for the Celtic, most especially for the Celtic breed, for the Celtic line. Our spirit guides tend to become ancestrally linked in some way or another. Supposedly, White Angel is an ancestor of mine somewhere way long ago. Gray Eagle is supposedly related on my great grandmother's side and the Choctaw Indian. Um, I was given a choice earlier on to follow the Native American or follow the Celt, and I chose the Celt more because of its foundation and where it comes from and the the philosophy behind the Celts. Um, I never was really actually pulled to the Native American side, though I find it absolutely interesting as hell.
Yep, fascinating.
So when we're talking about spirit guides, your spirit guides really are going to come to you in a fashion that pulls to your shamanic bloodline, if you will.
Well, as you're saying that, I'm seeing the lady that I started seeing when I was still a first year senior student. She always had black hair, dark blue eyes, and she had like a not Celtic, but like old fashioned Renaissance type clothing. Like sometimes it would be in white, sometimes red, sometimes white with red with blue. I would see her a lot, but like she never really spoke to me, and she was always far away.
Well, this will kind of help some of us as well. Over the last couple of days, I've been watching a lot of history and research on the Orkney Isles of Scotland. And yesterday, most especially, because I've been trying to draw this parallel of the things I've seen in the astral, the things I've been taught by the astral masters, the spirit guides, the council, um, the masters of the astral college, and what have you, while I've been getting getting ready to do this shamanic bloodline of where the Grove of the Celtic Shaman originated and where it came from, and how it manifested and morphed into what it is today in 2019. Um, is there documentation to support it? Absolutely not. Is there ever really documentation to support a full bloodline going all the way back? Now, Alexandrian and Gardnerian Wicca, yes, those started by human teachers that formed a philosophy from a human philosophy that they inducted that they indoctrinated, if you will. Is it the same with the Grove of the Celtic Shaman? Maybe. I don't think so. I tend to think ours comes from a deeper, more philosophical range because we have never been of the mindset it's my way or the highway. We've never been of the mindset I am the only one that is right. We've always been a more open philosophy of what are your thoughts? You know, it matters not whether it aligns with ours. We want to hear about you. And when it comes to spirit guides, they tend to want most of the experience that I've had with spirit guides of myself and of others is they tend to be more centered on the philosophy of education, knowledge, the combination of wisdom. Learning where you're from helps you understand where you're going, has been my experience anyway. What about you guys with your spirit guides? Have you found that, the question is, have you found that the more you learn where you're from, the more it helps you understand where you're going?
Yeah, I agree on that. When I first got into the path, we went back and looked at the Celt line. In fact, me and Don are related somewhere down the McDonald's.
Yes, we are.
But the spirit guides for me, okay, we have a council and then we have spirit guides.
Right.
But can some of the spirit guides be on our council?
The spirit guides are generally at the bottom of the council. Let me pull up the council. Right. So, you'll be able to see. Okay, there it goes. You'll be able to see where Great Spirit, right, gods and goddesses. But the council derives from the four cardinal points and the five elements, right?
Right.
Right? It's up to the individual practitioner whether you name your council. Me, personally, my council has names. Yours does not have to in the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Now, this architecture only resides under the tradition of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, though other shamans may well have it. But here's your spirit guides. Spirit guide 1 and 2, mythical guide if you have one, warrior if you have one, visitors to council, visitors of the high council, leaders and guides, and other realms.
See, I just found my mystical guide this last month.
All right. Well, and see, here's the thing: as we go deeper and deeper into our shamanic path, and we become more attuned, it doesn't matter if you've been in it 5 years, or 10, or 15, or 20, or 25. You're going to learn in segments. Like we've got 2 people right now who are apprentice masters. Both of them are doing their apprenticeship differently. Both of them are going through different trials and tribulations within their apprenticeship. And once they reach the master, and once they reach the mastery within the grove, it doesn't mean that they stop learning. It means that they learn on a different rail, different scale. And the spirit guides become more, I have found, and since I came over as a master, the spirit guides communicate differently. It's more of when you're in the astral. The spirit guides are more of a communication as we are here, like, I don't know, with a cup of coffee, a glass of ale if you drink, maybe a shot of whiskey if you choose. Me, I've generally got a Dr. Pepper laying by, or coffee. But when it comes to spirit guides, you may not be the only person, excuse me, you may not be the only person that spirit guide has, if that makes any sense at all.
You mean a spirit guide can be someone else's also?
Yes. People can share spirit guides. I know that White Angel has other people. I hesitate to use the term charges because that sounds more like a TV program. Right. But it's not that at all. It's White Angel has other people that he is responsible for, and he has yet to refuse my call. He has told me, "You got this. Do what you know you need to do, and I will be with you shortly." And I'm like, fuck. Okay, fine.
That's like my spirit guide, White Owl.
Yeah, I finally found out a few of my ones the other week, but I've always had my Great Bear and my animal spirits with me, even before I found my Pastor Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, that was a problem that Clint had in his earlier years. How do I tell the difference between a totem and a guide? Well, your totem are your animal spirits. One of my totems is the gray stallion, the bald eagle, which combined gives Pegasus. Go ahead.
I finally found my mythical guide. It's a griffin.
All right. So, your mythical guide, like my mythical guide, is Pegasus. So when we say mythical guide, we're talking about one of the creatures that we nowadays, at the time of this video in 2019, we consider a form of mythology or a mythical guide. I feel like in my heart, on a realm somewhere, they are still very real. I've never seen them on this realm, I can tell you. Either because I just hadn't stopped long enough to see them, or, do they live on another realm? Who the hell knows? I don't care. Pegasus, the teacher, has always been there. Chinook, the wire-haired Scotsman who is the warrior guide, has always been there. I know Cindy, Clint, Lucy, Lester, and a few others have seen Chinook come out during Circle.
Oh boy.
I've been told that's kind of fun to watch.
Especially when you fire dance.
Yeah, pretty much.
God, I miss those days.
Yeah, me too.
Roasted chestnuts. Okay.
Yes, that was roasted Scott nuts, but I get it. But the spirit guides actually, our topic for church this morning was it's not God's fault. Well, no, you're right, it's not. And it kind of comes down to the following of the spirit guides for shaman. Other paths I don't know about, other religions I don't know about, I do not care. But for shamans, our spirit guides, I have always said, if your spirit guide tells you to do something that is harmful, hateful, or hurtful to others, you need to reach out for help. Either preferably start with your higher ups in your tradition, if you're part of a tradition. If you're a solitaire and your guides start telling you you need to go out and commit mayhem and murder, you need to reach out for help. And I mean physical help on this plane, because you got some shit happening up here in the wee beanie. All of my years in experience, my guides have never told me to do anything harmful or hurtful, destructive. And when I've gone into battle, my two spirit guides kick back and sell tickets, so to speak. Um, in fact, I've heard Gray Eagle holler more than once, hit him again. But I mean, that's once the battle's already started. I don't start a battle, but I damn sure don't run from one either. So the spirit guide, as a formative guide, if you will, an understanding of a 24/7 teacher. I go through periods in life where I hang on very tightly to my spirit guides because there is enough going on that I don't know how to cope. Don't know what to do. So I call in spirit guide and I say, okay, look, I'm really going to need you these next couple of days. I got some real shit I got to go through. Most of the time, they're right there. There are other times where they pat me on the head and they say, you're doing fine. Do what you know needs to be done, you'll be fine. It's great, because I don't know what the hell I need to do. Are we still there?
Yep, you're still here.
Listening.
So
So,
repeat that quick.
where
I don't know. But anyway,
where did your spirit guides come from? Do you know?
well, on my spirit, the owl, I've always had an owl that watched over me. I've had it anywhere in the United States that we lived. We always saw the white owl or an owl that showed itself to me. That one was there. The other one, my spirit guide, it's you're gonna laugh. I still have the penguin.
I actually kind of like penguins, but that would be a animal totem, but go ahead.
Why can't it be a guide? Because it's always talking to me more than the guide does.
Ask the penguin to show its human self. The penguin will tell you, is it a totem for strength or is it a guide?
I'll do that. And then
Well, with my
the other spirit guide is my. It's a little dwarf. I've never got his name yet, but I know he's there.
Dwarfs are fun. They're mischievous little shits, but they're fun. Clint, you were going to say something?
well, my great bear has finally showed himself in his animal form. He has both. It's a very tall warrior. He's not really Native American. He's not really Celtic. He's kind of a mix. I think because of our bloodline and stuff. And he stands about 24 feet tall. Very broad shoulder. He carries a sword and a broad axe, both. So it's kind of a mix. And then, like I said, my mythical guide is the Griffin. He finally showed up. And then I have a lady who's all in white, but she has um, a mane of gold, like a lion. So but we talk a bunch lately because I'm having to understand a few things about the female aspect that she's been teaching me.
Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah. Clint, good luck going through your matriarchal training.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, there are those of us, and understand as well, I've also been asked, can your spirit guides change? Of course they can. Your spirit guides can bugger off for a bit. Mine did for a while, both of them. Mine, um, I went through a 2 year period where mine informed me, you are your own spirit guide for the next 2 seasons. And when a spirit guide tells you a season, that's their idea of a year. So if they tell you in winter, then it's a season back around to that date. They tell you in summer, it's a season back around to that date. They don't follow the same January to December calendar we do. They could give two shits less. But that was not a nice 2 years for me, because I was my own spirit guide and I just really didn't like that. But essentially the lesson to that is learn to trust yourself. Learn to have faith in yourself and your movements and what you're doing and in your training. Now mind you, spirit guide would never do that to anyone lower than a high priest in the realm of the Celtic shaman. But they would essentially never do that to anybody with less than 5 years training, typically. Because your spirit guide has to know that you're not going to run off the side of a mountain committing hara-kiri. They have to know that emotionally, psychologically, and physiologically you can handle being your own spirit guide. I can tell you when I was in my 20s, I would not have been able to handle being my own spirit guide. I was too short-tempered, I was too quick-fused, and I was too easy to go off on somebody. And anybody that's known me any length of time knows I've mellowed through the years. I like to think I have anyway. So the following of the spirit guides typically comes down to what's right for you and your path, where you're from, what your bloodline is within your shamanism, what's right for you. The interesting part about the way the architecture of the Celtic shaman is designed is from day one it has given that freedom to do that. Though in the first year, through the training of the first year up to the priesthood, they are required, if you're my student, you're required to follow my counsel as your counsel is in the process of building. Well, once you reach the priesthood, you should be able to build or orchestrate your own counsel. Hopefully, by the time you've reached the priesthood, you've been able to grasp and understand, communicate with, and learn how to talk to and listen to your spirit guides. That used to everybody being this quiet. But it's probably going to be a short broadcast today, because the biggest thing that we need to understand is, one, spirit guides are typically with us from this birth of this lifetime. Occasionally you'll come across someone whose spirit guide has been with them since the beginning of their spirit. Most may not realize that. I have seen mine to mostly be with me this lifetime. Prior lifetimes I haven't seen anything as far as spirit guide within those lifetimes. Following the spirit guide comes down to respect. You meet your spirit guide on the astral plane. in the answer of how do I meet my spirit guide, for those of you that don't know, you open yourself up. You make the astral travel. It's not an astral projection because you project your spirit for OBE, but you travel to the astral because it's on a complete other plane. But when you travel to the astral and you land in your landing place on the astral, I did a whole series on astral last year before last, I think. One of the first questions I recommend you always ask is, who is my spirit guide? Please send my spirit guide to me that I can know them. And don't be surprised if your spirit guide approaches you as an animal or a human form, a mythological creature form, who you can request to show the human self, to please approach me as a human self. And if they are indeed human based, they are required to make that form change to human so they can communicate with you on a language of which you'll understand. Do we have, and for those of you that are going to be watching our pre-recorded broadcast on our shared links, if you have any further questions, if you need further input, absolutely, whatever format you're watching it in on that list or that group or whatever, feel free to post your questions. One of us will see your questions. You can post them here in Facebook, you can PM any one of us listed in here, and we will be happy to help you.
And the other thing that I've found, I have 2 of my spirit guides that actually can change forms in the last couple of weeks.
Say again, Clint, I didn't hardly hear you.
Okay. Well, in the last couple of weeks, I've had 2 of my spirit guides actually shapeshift into something else because of the Celtic side of my following. I'm not sure, but I think those 2 are in some form shamans, but they just don't want to show their physical side yet because I still got some learning to do.
And that'll come in time. That'll come in time, I have no doubt. Spirit guides are interesting creatures. They typically tend to pick up on what we need more than what we want. And therein lies a whole topic for another discussion, is what we need the same as what we want. And how often do we get what we want through what we need? Boy, isn't that a oxymoron question. Anyway, right. So I think we're going to ease out. We're going to call it a day. But following your guides is up to you. And I want to close with this. If anybody has anything else they want to offer about spirit guides, now's the time. No? Alright. So when you're learning your spirit guides, listen. When you're getting to know them, listen, ask questions. Don't always expect an instantaneous answer. You're not always going to get an instantaneous answer. And most of the time what you're going to receive is what's called a parable. It is a answer to a question in the form of a question, forcing you to think about what it is you're asking as a parable. Much of the time, that's the way you're answered by the spirit guides. Very seldom will they give you a point blank yes or no answer. Following your spirit guides are your responsibility. If your spirit guides tell you to do something stupid that you know is going to harm others, it is still your responsibility to ask the right questions and make the decision whether or not that information is right. Because there are distasteful guides out there that will artificially approach someone as a spirit guide to try to keep them confused, off center, and off anchor, if you will. So there are some pretty unscrupulous spirits out there that would see you fail. And sometimes they would see you fail by making you think they're something that they're not. This doesn't mean be paranoid, because paranoia in and of itself will cause you to make mistakes. But when you're looking for your spirit guide, listen. Listen to the wind in the trees. Listen to the leaves. Listen to the world around you. You'll find your spirit guide. Chances are they've already always been right there with you. So as always, thank you very much for watching Live with a Shaman. If you're watching on YouTube or the like, click the like button and subscribe. We're always open for your input, and we want to hear your ideas. Have a great day, enjoy your week, and we will see you next time here on Live with a Shaman.